I've actually been training since I was 16. I was the first female racer on a racing team, and I got 16 speeding tickets the year I turned 16.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Sevier County judge knew me by name and gave me 200 hours of community service at the Sevier County Humane Society.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris with Cherokee Auto in Knoxville, and I'm here with Fallon Houser. Did I pronounce your name right?
Yep. Yeah. Houser.
Fallon Houser here in Loudon. I've got Lenore City here, but it's Loudon. So the name of her business is The Complete K9, and her business number is 865-800-3647. Her email address is Fallon, Fallon, at tck9, the number 9.dog, and the address is 10345 Lee Highway, Loudon, Tennessee. She services Knoxville all the way down to Chattanooga, including Cleveland, of course, and then all the way up to Kingsport within 2 hours. You mentioned you've got a customer coming from Michigan to do some nutrition training.
Yeah, we do some very specialized things. So I've had clients come up from Southern Alabama. I've had clients from Michigan, from Pennsylvania, from even up towards the Northeast that have come to see us out here.
Nice. You've got a broad spectrum there. So you mentioned you do a 2-week board and train, and you guys will pick the dog up. You'll bring the dog here.
Absolutely. So we pick them up doorstep. So we'll come in your home so we can see the way your dog actually lives in the house, what the issues are that's kind of going on there. And then they'll actually live with us just like one of our own. So the owners get photos every single day, so they don't have to worry about what their dog's doing and if they're okay. They get videos every 2 to 3 days, so they get to watch their dog's progress, know that they're learning what we promised them they would. And then at the end, we bring them back home, show them how to maintain it and keep it going. But what's better than all that, and the videos and all that, so they know that their dog can do it, because they'll watch their dog off-leash heel, like through Lowe's, okay, before their dog comes home. Is that we offer lifetime support. So the thing is, if they ever struggle with that training, they can come back and see us for free for refresher classes for the rest of their dog's life too.
Wow. That's really powerful. You said off-leash training, so you remove the leash and the dog obeys.
Yep, it's obedience on and off leash, because sometimes the leash snaps, and sometimes you might want to go on vacation with your dog and be able to enjoy them off leash.
And you take care of all size dogs? From
all sizes, all ages, issues, you name it, we do it.
So a 4-pound dog?
Absolutely.
Probably what's the largest dog that you have?
220-pound European Great Dane. He was huge.
That's a huge puppy.
He was 8 years old. His face was too big for a muzzle, and he came in for aggression.
Oh wow.
But he was I liked him a lot, actually.
What was his name?
Honestly, this was a decade ago, so I hate to say it, but I've probably trained a couple thousand dogs between now and then. But it'll come to me in a minute, I'm sure.
A Great Dane. We had a friend who had a Great Dane. They called her Khaleesi, and you would walk up to the door, and she would just jump at the door and bark and just growl, and it was very scary.
The Great Danes, they're a heartbreaking breed, and the reason why is because they're amazing, but their life terms are just so short, but they're incredible. They're big goobers as puppies.
So if you want to find her on Google, you can Google The Complete K9, and you'll get her Google business profile. There's a link to Facebook on there on the very bottom, so if you click that link, you're going to see a lot of new content on there. And then if you look right next to the Facebook link, there's a link to her YouTube channel, which is The Complete K9, and there's right at 1,000 videos on YouTube. You can immerse yourself and dive down a deep hole. So tell me about a couple of videos that you've put on YouTube that you're proud of there.
Oh, absolutely. I think some of my favorite cases, for example, I had Harvey. Now, Harvey was a few years back, but he was a 3-year-old German Shepherd, 115 pounds, had bitten multiple people.
Oh, wow.
His family they were trapped in their own house. They couldn't have the bug guy over.
Oh, wow.
And when I came to pick him up, he greeted me at the door with teeth. And but one of the most amazing things that we were able to help them with was within a couple days, I realized he was acting this way because he couldn't see very well. He had spots on his eyes. And because when I started teaching down, I realized he's in pain. And so we were able to sedate him because he was aggressive and get him over to my vet. We did a full vet workup, found a congenital problem with his eyes. He'd been looking through snowflakes since he was a puppy. He couldn't see people. And then because he had massive hip dysplasia, that probably came in, I mean, he started feeling around 6 months old or so. he's in pain and he can't see things. That would make anybody cranky.
So he's grumpy. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So we were able to, put him on a nice medication for his hips. And I kind of approached the way that I trained just a little differently with him, slowed down a bit, started showing him things a little bit more. And to this day, he comes and he visits Miss Fallon for boarding. He's old now, but his family can go and do with him, and they were able to enjoy him.
Sure.
And where they couldn't before.
Have a good dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who acted appropriately. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good story. So how did you get started, and how long have you been in business?
So I've actually been training since I was 16. I was the first female racer on a racing team, and I got 16 speeding tickets the year I turned 16.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Sevier County judge knew me by name and gave me 200 hours of community service at the Sevier County Humane Society.
Oh.
If I worked with any of y'all back then, I'm sorry, I was a jerk teenager like we all are. But I really found a passion for fostering and working with animals back then, and so I started taking classes and teaching and volunteering. And so that kind of bloomed over the years, took more classes, did more things, offered more things, fostered. I moved to Tucson for a couple years and then came back, went back to college, and then got my master's degree, went back to school, did all that stuff. But I really went absolutely pro a little over a decade ago, because before that I've been doing some balance training that wasn't like what we do now, and mostly positive reinforcement, and I still felt that my skills weren't where they needed to be to really help the dogs I wanted to help.
Right.
And it wasn't until I found the technique that we use today that I was able to help all dogs.
Oh, okay.
And that was years after I had actually opened a Doberman Rescue too, Tennessee Doberman Rescue Plus. And so once I started applying these techniques to dogs that had major fear issues, anxiety issues, that had seen the worst of humanity and had some of the biggest issues, all of a sudden I saw this turnaround and I went, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So, and then I've been doing this for well over a decade now, just professionally.
Okay, awesome. So what are all the services that you offer here?
So because I've been doing this so long, I've been able to get quite a few different certifications and different things under my belt. I fully believe that if you don't know something, you go and you learn it. It doesn't matter what it is, right?
Yep.
So dual certified in canine nutrition. I teach people how to home prep because once you know what's in our dog's food, you can't unknow it.
Yeah.
You know that scene in The Matrix, red pill and blue pill?
Yeah.
I took the red pill and I can't unknow it.
Knowledge, yeah.
Exactly. So we teach people how to home prep at home, but we also can help them with medical diets and work with their vet, to help create medical diets for everything from pancreatitis to diabetes insipidus. I mean, all kinds of different things.
Right.
We teach pet first aid and CPR to other pet care professionals. We actually just had another boarding company, shout out Paws Pet Care down there in South Knoxville. They came and saw us. Their whole crew got pet first aid and CPR trained.
Oh, nice.
We do basic and advanced obedience, scent work for sport work, intro to agility, puppy classes, diabetic alert, adrenal insufficiency, aggression and anxiety management. We do overnight boarding.
Right.
So literally everything from nutrition to safety issues to wellness and sports to helping a dog learn why they're so mad.
You have a nice
and
spectrum of
too.
and also the family.
Yeah.
So you mentioned The Matrix. Are you guys movie people or book people or?
I'll be honest, I work 100 hours a week, easy.
Okay, so.
But I've been watching a lot of NCIS lately because Netflix has that on. But I mean, for the most part, we try to get out as much as possible. We have 2 horses and we have 7 acres in Sweetwater.
Right.
And like, we don't go on vacation. We got a pool a few years ago. So,
pool.
We try to get out and spend time together as a family as much as we can.
What are your horses' names?
Dante and Rivero.
Okay.
Dante is
what color are they?
He's a chestnut. Dante he's 17-2. He's an off-the-track thoroughbred. Rivero is my 2-year-old Trakehner. I waited 20 years to breed. I just lost his mom a couple months ago. But he's my baby, and Rivero means God's gift, and he very much is. So we play with them, but I also work with my own dogs, and I do sports with them. I do a lot of scent work with my own dogs, and I show them in conformation, and I also show and breed and rescue.
Okay.
I like everything dog.
Man, you sure do. So you mentioned a book that you were going to recommend earlier that you have read and that you...
Yeah, so one of my favorite authors, Rick Woodford, has this book, Feed Your Best Friend Better. And I think for a lot of people that are kind of interested in getting into nutrition, taking a class will really help them. There's a lot of stuff online, but a lot of that stuff can be very confusing because there's like all types of different diets. You have the ancestral diet, you have the BARF diet. Yes, that's a real thing. It's biologically appropriate raw food is what BARF stands for.
That's funny.
And there's so many different options out there that people don't know where to go. They don't know whether to believe this article, that article, this course, that course. And so I think going through a course is nice, but the book, Feed Your Best Friend Better by Rick Woodford, is one of the most easy to read, down to earth, recipe-full book for people to kind of get started with and go from there.
So to make food for your dog that's more natural and doesn't have additives and a bunch of protein in it. I gotcha. Yeah. Well, good. We'll make a note to that book in the bottom in the YouTube show notes there. So talk about your spouse and how long you've been married, how you met, and what you noticed first.
So first, it was his height and the fact that mutual friends were trying to hook him up with another one of my friends. And I said, oh no, that tall man in the hat, that all-American looking man, I want to meet him. And so we went to an after party with mutual friends and we bonded over the band Cake. And so I had that album in my car and we both were big fans. And so long story short, later on that evening, he invited me over and I said, I have to go get my dogs. Well, for some reason, he thought I owned Chihuahuas. I ended up bringing 2 very large male Dobermans to his house and never left.
Oh, okay.
Never left. You know, kind of started as a fling and and I just kind of moved in. You know, so that, and 13 years later, we will celebrate 14 years together this January.
Yay. That's a long time.
Yeah, and he's very tolerant. I mean, he never really had dogs before we met. Now he has 12 dogs in the house.
Now dogs are,
way of life.
Number 2, or number 3, I guess. Well, maybe, God would be number 1 and then.
Absolutely, and God has held number 1 for us.
That's good. I'm glad you said that. And then talk about your kid.
So Declan is incredible. We thought we were going to have to go through fertility treatments, and I did go through one medical procedure, but lightning struck, or God's hand struck, one or the other really quickly. But we are so fortunate. He's beautiful on the outside and the inside. Okay, he's a good kid, and he loves other people. He loves being able to give back. He's helped me all summer here. Now he's going back to school. But he's actually skipped a grade and makes straight A's. And he goes to Cross Creek, and that's an amazing school as well.
Right.
They're very Christian-based. Right. It's a homeschool program, but they go to campus 4 days a week.
Oh, good.
So it's small classroom sizes. They get help with everything, and he's really excelled.
Do they get grades? Is it like a Montessori school? Okay, so it's not like a Montessori school. Okay.
It's not. It's not quite like that. But they are graded, just like a public school.
Okay, good.
And they have access to different sports and all kinds of different things through it.
And it's close to your home. You're here,
but they teach the way I feel like you and I were taught, a little bit more than the way a lot of schools are teaching now. So that I've never understood that new math that they've been teaching kids for a while now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Right?
Yeah.
No, you don't. Oh, you've got to look into this. The new math they're teaching kids is so confusing. And it's just a nightmare, but they don't teach cursive to kids anymore.
Oh, I knew that,
My son writes in cursive all the time,
good.
You know, because his school teaches that stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
But I think it's important for kids nowadays to learn things like compound and simple interest, how a credit card works, you know.
For sure.
Whether the hot water heater in their house as an adult is gas or electric, and how to tell the difference. We're missing that as
life
society.
skills.
You know, we're not teaching kids that enough.
So personal finance, I told you before, we're Dave Ramsey people. So personal finance, you're talking about your kid and compound interest, and that kind of all goes hand in hand. So
it does, and it's things that aren't taught nearly enough.
Right.
Like people worry so much right now about college and student loans, right? And how student loans, and there's people on both sides of the fence saying, well, the government shouldn't help with student loans and all that debt. And then other people saying, well, they should. Well, here's kind of the issue that I see with it as somebody that has student loans, and I didn't have help. My family couldn't afford to put me through college.
Sure.
Okay, I'm the first person in my family to have ever graduated with a degree, and I got my master's degree in business. But
you have your MBA?
I do.
Yeah.
And so It's the problem of the way the interest is done and the fact that government loans are higher than a lot of private loans that you can get right now. There's no cap on the interest rate. And the government didn't step in and put a cap on these tuitions, okay, years and years ago.
They didn't,
so the thing is, going to school in the 80s and even the early 90s was so much more affordable than it is now. And so now they're saying by the time my son goes to college, his tuition for a bachelor's degree could be over $200,000.
Right, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You know, so there has to be a cap, and there needs to be some assistance with getting those interest rates down, and making them more feasible. Because when you teach an entire generation, the only way to succeed is to go to college, and then they all go to college, so the degree doesn't matter anymore. And everybody's walking around with these giant loans. Well, come on, how did that happen? Nobody stepped in early enough.
Yeah, I think it's anyway.
But the thing is, our kids don't know enough, and unfortunately, I had to learn this stuff later in life. Okay, so I had to learn through the School of Hard Knocks. I would like him to avoid that.
So Dave's team, the Ramsey team, put out a documentary called Borrowed Future. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't, but I've heard of it.
It's on YouTube, and it's free, and we've seen it, and I recommended it to some family members. But man, it will make you understand that student loans are not the right way to go necessarily. And there are a lot of other solutions for that, how to pay for school as you're going, or how to get discounted rates and stuff like that. So
your money can either make you more money, or it can make somebody else more money.
Exactly. 100%. Yep. So you talked about there not being licensing requirements in Tennessee to train dogs. So what are you doing to train your trainers?
So it's not even just Tennessee. There is no license requirement for dog trainers anywhere in the U.S.
So no 50 states.
You would be amazed and horrified how many dog trainers are convicted of animal cruelty. Okay, or manage even to weasel out of it and just open up under a completely different business name somewhere else and hide. Okay, I can tell you, even here in Knoxville, some horror stories, and I won't name names or do anything like that. One trainer in Knoxville is the reason that there is a husky run around with one ear and 3 legs. Okay, there is another one that was brought up on charges in another state as law enforcement for shooting a man in the back. Yeah, I said it. There's some real serious cases that people aren't aware of because these things are hidden very, very well. And so realistically, when you get to know your dog trainer, you need to, don't just look at reviews, don't just look at the shiny website that they put forth. Ask to see where your dog's going to be. If somebody wants to come to my home and see where their dog is going to live, they are invited. They can come to my home. I don't mind. No, I don't mind a bit. And so you need to have that transparency. Your dog trainer should be insured. Ask to see a copy of their insurance policy. Okay, I have zero issue with showing that to people as well. Ask them about their experience. Ask them about what tools they're using and the methodology behind those tools.
I should be able to put it in words.
Absolutely. And right now people are saying, well, board and trains are bad. Sending your dog off to be training is bad because then you don't know what's happening. Ask for transparency. If you're not getting a photo every day and videos at least every few days, you know, you better be able to go see your dog if you have doubts. And I'll tell people flat out, seeing your dog during a board and train can affect their training because they're not going to understand that you're leaving them again and they're going to need to decompress. But if anybody were ever that concerned, they can come see their dog. I would never shut somebody out. Okay, so that transparency and that honesty is so important, and trainers need to be held to more of a standard, you know, and not just a social media standard as much as a standard where owners hold them accountable, you know. But people don't know. They just don't know these things. They don't know how scary a lot of these individuals can be.
Yeah, you can tell by the dog's behavior when the dog gets around them. We had a dog groomer who we used to use, and we got ready to take our dogs and got to the door and both dogs were shaking. We're like, nope. Have a good one. And we just left. Can't do that.
Absolutely. I can say that when my dog's in training, when they see me again, they almost always smile and their whole body because, like I said, we're
Tails
balance
start wagging,
trainers. I do. I create rules and boundaries for the dogs in our program. but we have so much fun. I almost always have a pocket full of treats when I'm working dogs.
Yeah.
And it's not always bribery. Sometimes it's just because I want to see them smile.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Absolutely.
So I have fun with them.
What's your proudest accomplishment?
Probably my son. My son, my son definitely, hands down. Professionally, it would probably be Draken, my male Doberman, to date. He held the highest ranking as far as a Doberman in scent work for almost 2 years. And he's the smartest dog that I've ever worked with. We've done brain games with him where his intelligence, his inference, his memory is just is completely off the chart. But I think it's doing this every day. And he's another one. But doing this every day is a daily accomplishment.
Yeah.
I had the best job in the world.
Yeah.
And I mean that hands down. I could use my degree and go do something else.
Sure.
I've built multi-million-dollar locations that I walked away from.
Right.
You know, and at this point, it's just being able to do what I love and changing lives. That's worth it.
Yeah.
I don't want to work for anyone else. I want to do this.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You can definitely have a beautiful facility here.
Well, thank you.
I can tell you enjoy what you do.
Yeah, we are looking to transition, and I'm looking to bring some things back home, so I don't know how long we'll be in this particular facility, but we'll still be around. I've been doing this over 20 years. I'm going to be doing this to the day God takes me.
You're going to, what do they call it, die at the desk.
Yep, that's right.
You're gonna do this because you enjoy doing it. I was listening to a podcast earlier about someone who's in my industry. He said he is so excited when Monday morning rolls around. He wished there was 8 days in the week. He wished it was an extra day so he could continue to do it an extra day. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's a good way to feel about making your business. It is
when you do what you love, and people say don't do what you love or you'll destroy it. To a degree, To a degree, sure. Does it become work? I mean, I'll be honest, to me, the accounting portion of what I do, I hate accounting. I do. I respect it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but accounting to me is like a sandpaper massage followed by a lemon juice bubble bath.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just not pleasant.
Right, yeah.
That would
be very unpleasant.
Yeah. I'd rather do marketing and do that side of it. I actually enjoy some of the marketing, but in order to do this every day, that's just a necessary.
Right.
So you find ways to enjoy it.
Right. So have you heard of the book, The E-Myth?
No.
So the E-Myth is the entrepreneur's myth. And the concept is you are three people. I'm about 20% into it. I'll send you a link to the book and then you can pull it up on your device. It's actually online. But there's three people inside you. There's the person you were the day you started your business, and then there's the other two people who you have to become in order for your business to be successful. So you have the entrepreneur, you have the manager, and then you have the technician. So you working in here with your dogs are the technician, and then the entrepreneur was the person who had the thought and who keeps the business, who's always looking towards the future. Then the manager is the CPA person. The manager is the process person. The manager fights the technician and they fight the entrepreneur. The technician fights the entrepreneur and the manager. But that's you. There's an example, and you'll read this in the book. There's an example of Sarah whose grandmother taught her to make pies, and she taught her to slow down and make pies. And so she opened her pie shop, and she's making pies, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
And she doesn't understand really what her business is about anymore because she hates it.
Yeah.
She's just in misery, so.
Yeah.
So I like that you brought that up. So I will share that with you, and
that'd be great.
Yeah, we'll put a link to that in the YouTube video as well if anybody else is interested. That book is called The E-Myth.
That makes sense. It does, because
it's really
I don't
cool,
know a business owner that loves every aspect of their business.
Yeah.
There's, because there's so much that goes into it. Yeah. But business owners, and I found that the older I get too, the longer I do this, the more of my friends around me have become other business owners.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because it's a way of thinking.
Yeah.
That's just different.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And you see that.
You've got a lot of experiences you're probably thinking about as you mentioned that. Good experiences, bad experiences, bright light experiences. I remember the day that we started our business 12 years ago. I wasn't doing it before I met my partner. She wasn't doing it before she met me, and we came together, and then we started doing it.
Yeah.
And we started doing it really, really hard.
Yeah.
And that was how we started our business that day. So.
Well, see, this industry, 6 years ago, if you wanted to start a dog training industry, within a year to 2 years, you would have grown for everything, for even whatever you put in, to have hit a break-even point. Let's say you invested 50 grand, within 2 years you would have made that back,
Right,
and
right,
been fine,
Yeah.
and been making profit.
Sure.
Nowadays, in the last 4 to 5 years,
Yeah.
our competition has quadrupled.
Oh, yeah.
And that comes from a lot of these chains that are churning out trainers
Right.
that don't really know what they're doing.
Right.
But there's no licensing. Plus, nowadays, we're seeing where the economy being where it is, that a lot of families can't afford it. They're not prioritizing it. But here's the thing. This is what we do. This is what we're good at. So this is what we're going to do.
Right.
And so over the winter, we're going to batten down just a little bit, because I think this election's going to change some things.
Yeah.
And be ready for spring and summer as things are bouncing back.
Right.
So we're here for it. And either way, we're not quitting. We're going to be here.
That's it. There's another book called Who Moved My Cheese? and what you just said is exactly what the book outlines, and how to find new ways of getting to your cheese. So, so tell me about a day in your life that was hard and what you did to attack it, turn it around, and get through it.
Oh, well, the selling this facility.
Yeah.
You know, this has been something we've discussed many, many times. The facility is closer to Knoxville. It's halfway between Sweetwater and Knoxville, but and I live in Sweetwater.
Right.
Okay, a lot of our clients come from Knoxville, but what we're finding is that with time, we're getting more and more clients that are traveling to us from further than Knoxville.
Right.
So, like I said, we have a client that's coming to us from Michigan tomorrow. I've had clients from, the Northeast, as far as Connecticut.
Yeah, wow.
I've had people from Southern Alabama come to see us, because we offer things like medical diets and nutrition.
Oh, yeah.
Not many people out there will sit in a kitchen with you and teach you what you need to know to do this.
Right.
And so, and even to tweak your diet.
You probably get a lot of
feel
referrals
confident.
from vets also.
Vets can be hit and miss.
Yeah.
There's still a large amount of vets out there that don't believe in home prepped meals.
Okay, gotcha.
And then there's a lot of vets that do, and the ones that do, absolutely.
Yeah.
We see a lot of that. But it can be hit or miss there, but I'll work with any vet that wants to work with us and is willing to, because it's important for me to see a chemical panel. It's important for me to see blood work and look at what's going on, and be able to talk to that vet about a possible history or what they've seen too out of that dog, because dogs are just as unique as we are.
Right.
So a medical diet for you, even if we have the same condition, may not be exactly what I need.
Right.
So there can be some certain things that you got to tweak in that. But like I said, as in getting back to what we were talking about, because a lot of our clientele is coming from further, we're becoming a little bit more boutique and specialty in that way. Although we will teach any dog and work with any dog. So I'm actually looking at retrofitting property on my own property in Sweetwater, and creating a facility just as large, just as nice, but 100 feet from my front door. So if I don't have the right tool or something there at the facility, I don't have to drive 30 minutes home. So I can just walk back and forth and have examples and have everything that I need right there on site.
And you mentioned you had acreage, a lot of acreage there.
7 acres, 2 horses. So I have this huge barn, and I'm looking at just completely retrofitting it. And the horses will still have a stall. We're just going to relocate those stalls.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And
then, what's that?
Oh, those ponies, they're spoiled rotten.
Oh, I bet they are. Especially the 2-year-old. You said she's 2? So are you a morning person or not? And then talk about coffee, or you mentioned a pre-workout powder.
Yeah, so when you work enough Cujos on concrete for years, and or even just happy fluffer dogs that want to pull, eventually you get some muscle aches and pains, and the ground gets a little harder, and each step gets a little more achy. So no, I'm not a morning person. My husband wakes up at 5 a.m. to go to work at TVA. I am not a 5 a.m. person. Not voluntarily anyway.
Not you.
No.
So you're a night person then?
Mostly, yeah.
Are you?
And so he goes upstairs and he sleeps in our room, and I sleep downstairs. We have a den that has, where our board and train sleep and our dogs sleep, and I just sleep downstairs in the day bed most of the time with them. In the morning, I get up, and it takes me some time to stretch and move some, and I rotate all the dogs that take my pre-workout. I get dressed in my daily uniform of polyester and, hit the ground running.
You wear the same thing every day.
Oh, God, yes. It's, my wardrobe, I don't even think I own jeans anymore. It's pretty much all 5'11" tactical pants in the winter, and You know, athletic shorts and skirts in the summer.
Yeah, you're stretchy, comfortable.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it. So. Well, thank you for spending time with us today. Again, this is Fallon Houser with the Complete Canine, and then you can leave comments in the bottom, and you can go to her Google business profile, look at her Facebook and her YouTube, and we'll be putting links up to all of that in the bottom of the video. And thanks for watching, and thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Do you want to promote your business on our podcast? You can give us a call or shoot us a text at 865-687-7100. You can also apply by filling out our Google form in the description box.